Is the military of the US bigger than Russia's? Hold up, wait a second. Did you already subscribe? If not, please do so we can make more and better content for you. It is common knowledge that relations between Russia and the United States do not improve. These two countries come dangerously close to a full-scale war every century. In this video, we'll show you the military strength of these two superpowers. How much larger is the United States military than Russia? The United States and NATO have significantly more resources to devote to the military than Russia does. Russia's military budget was over $66 billion that year. There were more than 4 times as many expenditures from European NATO members. The United States spent over 11 times as much, $801 billion. Albeit it naturally has massive military obligations outside of Europe. Even more, European nations, notably Germany, have promised significant increases in military spending, but the details are still unclear. The NATO European fleets have roughly 4 times as many surface ships as Russia, even considering the significant troop deployments made by the United States with the 6th Fleet in the Mediterranean and the 2nd Fleet in the Atlantic. The NATO strategic concept overstates Russia's capacity to pose a significant threat to NATO in the Mediterranean. Russia's Mediterranean squadron typically comprises just 3 frigates and 6 conventional submarines of the Varshavyanka class. The NATO navies and air forces support the United States 6th Fleet, which typically consists of roughly 40 warships, including an aircraft carrier and cruisers. That Russia has a sizable fleet of submarines is a different story. NATO faces the same 2 dangers that it confronted in the days of the Soviet submarine. Russia has 12 ballistic and 10 cruise missile submarines, which pose a nuclear threat. Secondly, Russia has both 20 conventional attack submarines and 15 nuclear attack submarines, 5 of which have been stationed in the Pacific at some point in the last year, 6 in the Pacific. To stop American reinforcements from entering Europe in the event of war, their main objectives have been to defend the stationing of ballistic missile submarines and to attack NATO trade across the Atlantic. While it is unclear how successful they would be, the United States, Britain, and France have at least 35 nuclear attack submarines that can be deployed in the Atlantic to guard convoys. Would a Russian invasion of NATO even require US enforcements to be sent to Europe? A Russian army that has struggled for months to take control of relatively modest cities in the Donbas seems unlikely to succeed in taking even larger targets like Warsaw or Berlin. The US Air Force can easily cross the Atlantic to help resist an invasion, something Russia cannot stop. NATO's European countries, plus the US troops already stationed in Europe, have a significant numerical and armament advantage. NATO's 5 Central European nations had over 500,000 active ground soldiers, not counting reserves, in 2021, while Russia only has 280,000, most of which are stuck in Ukraine. The United States has 6 combat brigades stationed in Europe, significantly smaller than overall Russian forces, but enough to harden European resistance seriously. On paper, Russia has 22,000 armored vehicles in contrast to NATO's 16,000. However, evidence from the Ukraine conflict suggests that many of these stored Russian vehicles have deteriorated to the point where they cannot be effectively deployed, and that what slight advantage Russia still had in armor over Ukraine had been nullified mainly by a combination of Ukrainian bravery and NATO anti-tank weapons. To a similar extent, Russia's overwhelming aerial dominance against US anti-aircraft missiles has been borne out. For the foreseeable future, a sizable portion of the Russian armed forces will be committed to either fighting in Ukraine or defending against counterattacks from the Ukrainian military. According to reports from the United States and Britain, Russia has already lost around a fourth of its effective fighting force in the conflict in Ukraine. Accordingly, the current threat presented by Russian ground forces to NATO cannot be stopped compared to the massive Soviet tank armies that once stood on the Elbe and the Danube. This is it, everyone. So what do you think? Leave a comment and let us know. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that. Also, put on the notifications because the following video is going to be a great one.